In today's Farm Report, the Renewable Fuels National Ethanol Conference was a few weeks ago, and the keynote speaker was a former trade representative who talked about the trade situation and outlook for ethanol. Cindy Zimmerman with AgriPulse has more.
Former U.S. Trade Representative Ron Kirk was the keynote speaker at the Renewable Fuels Association National Ethanol Conference last week, where the theme was Going Global. Among the many benefits of international trade, Kirk noted that 98% of the 300,000 companies that export from the United States are small businesses, including farmers and ethanol producers.
The reality is most of our exporters are small businesses. One of the most interesting things we found, of those 98% of small businesses who export, 75% of you only sell to one country and one customer.
Stressing the need for Congress to give the president trade promotion authority, Kirk lamented statistics that show a majority of Americans are opposed to international trade.
There are still too many Americans that have just gone sour on the value proposition of trade. And they just don't believe that America has benefited from trade. Now, I know it's changed a little bit because of the success that we've had, but I remember when I came into office, I was daunted by a poll that the Wall Street Journal, not exactly a liberal publication, had done, and they just polled Americans and asked them one question: on balance, do you believe trade has been good for America? And over 70% of Americans said no.
Kirk cited another poll that showed how Americans' belief in international trade benefits compares with other beliefs.
They asked Americans, do you believe you'll win the lottery? Do you believe you'll win a Powerball lottery? And you know what the odds of that are. 3 times more Americans answered yes, that they believed they'd win the lottery, than answered the question, I believe trade is good for America. Now, if that's not enough to sober you, then they asked them, now I can't make this stuff up. This was done by a group called the Third Way Group. They asked them, do you believe in the existence of extraterrestrial beings? You believe in UFOs? Twice as many Americans said they believed in the existence of UFOs than believed the trade was good for America.
Kirk served as trade ambassador under President Obama in his first term. Reporting for AgriPulse, I'm Cindy Zimmerman.
Many critics and some supporters of the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, SNAP, often say that there needs to be more effort put into job training, job placement for SNAP recipients. Some states do have programs, many do not. Why not? Agriculture Secretary Tom Vilsack told a congressional panel this week.
Many states do not take full advantage of the employment and training resources that they have. Many states do not take advantage of the 50-50 money that's available. There are literally millions of dollars on the table that states are not using.
And University of Maryland Professor Douglas Besheroff told a congressional hearing that the incentives are just not there for states to spend that money. He said the way the system is set up, the federal government pays 100% of the cost of SNAP, except for administrative costs. But if the state has a jobs program for SNAP recipients,
it has to pay 50% of the cost. But if it wants to just give out SNAP benefits, it only pays the administrative costs, and those are very low.
So it may be cheaper for financially strapped states to keep people on SNAP rather than run programs to get them off. Gary Crawford for the U.S. Department of Agriculture, Washington.
The 2014 Farm Bill took over a year to get through Congress, and, as one former lawmaker says, it may be the last easy farm bill to get passed. Cindy Zimmerman has more.
Republican Tom Latham served as congressman from Iowa for 20 years, stepping down at the end of last year. A speaker at the Bear Crop Science Ag Issues Forum this week prior to Commodity Classic in Phoenix, Latham talked about what's on the horizon for agriculture. He thinks the 2014 Farm Bill was very positive, but he wonders if it may be the last.
And that we focused on risk management, and really that's where we needed to go. Producers themselves were willing to give up the direct payments, and that was a big sacrifice. And I think, with the higher prices at that time, they were willing to do it. Going forward, I think it's going to be a real challenge to get another farm bill. We saw the divide that happened last time between the nutrition programs, which are over 80% of the cost of a farm bill, and the ag policy portion. That's, I think, is going to continue. And you've got a lot of people on the ag committee, certainly in the House, that are more concerned about nutrition programs, either supporting them or people who want to reduce them. with different eligibility, and that's more important than farm policy is. So I think it's going to be a real challenge going forward.
A longtime member of the House Appropriations Committee, Latham acknowledges that funding issues will continue to pressure agriculture.
There's, the sequester. There's budget pressure that people want to get a handle on the national debt and annual deficits. So it's natural. And the thing that's different today, and I think after reapportionment this last time, Iowa's a case example, going from 5 seats to 4 seats, and actually only 2 districts really you call ag districts anymore. The other ones, and we only have actually one person representing us in the House that has an ag background, and it's a whole different dynamic. That more people are concerned about the deficit, about national debt, than they are about they are able to ignore agriculture.
Even with the Republican majority in Congress, Latham thinks it will still be difficult to get anything done.
And I think there's high expectations with Republicans coming out of the last election. We're able to take control of the United States Senate. The problem being that they have 54 votes and it takes 60 to do anything over there. So the expectations, I think, in reality are going to have to change. And we can, with an administration that believes in more regulations, with more control over the whole society, I think it's going to be a real difficult situation going forward.
Reporting for AgriPulse, I'm Cindy Zimmerman.
Private landowners' role in conserving the habitat and populations of threatened and endangered species is essential. To that end, programs like Working Lands for Wildlife give incentives for private landowner involvement. Jim Surface of the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service says incentives are in the form of regulatory predictability in the event a species is listed under the Endangered Species Act.
We give certainty for up to 30 years. We tie it to the conservation plan that's used by NRCS to work with the landowners. They have the transparency and the rules of engagement so they know what to expect.
USDA's Natural Resources Conservation Service has been a key partner in Working Lands for Wildlife since its inception, offering technical and financial support in conservation efforts.
NRCS was great at adapting to conditioning the practices for conservation, and we could also assure that we had reached that productivity that we were looking for.
I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
Today is the deadline to sign up for learning how to manage small acreages. Emily Wilmeth with the University of Minnesota Extension Service Office has more.
This is your final reminder to register for the Small Farms Day Conference coming up this Saturday. If you are a small farm owner with horses or mixed livestock, then this is an exciting opportunity for you. Mark your calendars for the Small Farms Day Conference on Saturday, March 7th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. The conference will be held at the Sherburne History Center in Becker, Minnesota. Topics include pasture management for small acreages, healthcare considerations for multiple livestock farms, cost share programs for small acreages, manure management, and poisonous plants. The cost is $10 per person, and registration is available at www.regonline.com/smallfarms. The registration deadline is today, Monday, March 2nd. The conference is hosted by the Sherburne Soil and Water Conservation District, the Clean Water Land and Legacy Amendment, Anoka Equine, the Minnesota Horse Council, and University of Minnesota Extension. Again, the Small Farms Day Conference will be held on Saturday, March 7th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Sherburne History Center in Becker, and registration is due today, March 2nd. You can register online at www.regonline.com/smallfarms. For more information, or if you have any questions, contact the Stearns County Extension Office at 320-255-6169. This is Emily Wilmus with University of Minnesota Extension.
Congratulations to the Piers FFA farm management team of Bethel Dukowski, Josh Rushlow, Caleb Welly, and Ty Dombrowski for placing first as a team and first through fourth individually at the recent competition to advance to state. Also, Taylor Stumpf placed second overall for her prepared speech competition. Stump's speech was on why all schools need agricultural education classes. Stump also earned a state invite for the speech. Again, congratulations to the members of the Pierce FFA chapter who will be moving on to state competition.